Chapter 14. The Witch's Sabbath. You can't erase millions of years of human response simply by knowing why you do the things you do. Religions and ideologies will come and go, and the games will begin and end, but man's basic nature will remain the same. Yet only through understanding himself will he be able to embrace and cherish the demon within him. Then he can revel in his nature and, feeling glad, move on to the final solution. Final paragraph of the Satanic Witch. Somewhere in ancient accounts of diablerie, there's a phrase about a witch emerging from her hut with hair flowing free and feet bare. Nothing could be further from LaVey's contemporary brand of witchcraft. LaVey avers that women are undeniably different from men, and that a woman's power lies in exploiting her unique attributes. The Satanic Witch is LaVey's guide to enchantment, with advice for women on how to unashamedly use artifice, wile, and guile to get whatever they desire. LaVey has always preferred the image of a witch as an enchantress, one who fascinates rather than the feminist/Wiccan version of witch as healer and midwife derived from the Anglo-Saxon Wicca, wise one. Feminist stridency aside, most dictionaries still define a witch either as a crone or an unusually attractive woman. For many years, even after he founded the Church of Satan, LaVey tutored weekly witches' workshops. The Satanic Witch compiles most of the field-tested techniques he presented in his classes. But the Satanic Witch isn't just for women. The bibliography of the Satanic Witch, along with the original dedication page from the Satanic Bible, are considered crib sheets for LaVey's arcane authorities, and the curious have been known to scour the country for the rare books listed there. Also of interest to the non-witch is LaVey's synthesizer clock, reproduced in Satanic Witch's end papers, a typing system based on human physiognomy. The first quarter of the Satanic Witch explains how to identify types and learn their likes, dislikes, and motivations, vital information gleaned from LaVey's own experience working circuses, carnivals, and burlesque houses. It's a carny's view of human foibles, trade secrets, usually reserved for those initiated into the mysteries of the backlot. LaVey's synthesizer clock takes as its foundation the body typing systems of Sheldon, Kretschmer, and others, and blends them with the traditional magical elements of fire, air, water, and earth. I provide broad generalities. The idea behind typing is learning to see a billboard-sized canvas so you can recognize the same aspects in a postage stamp. If you train yourself to see the most exaggerated examples, then you could recognize certain retrieval cues for personality types when you see them to a lesser degree in other people. If you hone your skills of observation, everything can tell you about a person. That's what is called cold reading in the carnival. For instance, if you see black tennis shoes on a young girl, it indicates that she would be inclined to wear entirely black outfits and therefore probably has an interest in the dark side, witchcraft, Satanism. Tattoos on a woman's hand can indicate previous biker or gang involvement, hence a rebellious nature. Pay attention to tiny clues. That's what I train my witches to do. LaVey creates a continuum formed around a clock so each individual can be described as a 9 o'clock or a 4 o'clock type, etc. Starting at the top, a pure 12 o'clock type is described as the masculine archetype. Wide shoulders, narrow hips, short legs, firm flesh, domineering, aggressive, always on stage, impulsive, and authoritarian. A pure fire type, flamboyant in the truest sense of the word. A pure air type at 3 o'clock has a narrow, stick-like build with translucent skin and sinewy strength. He's intellectual, a thinker rather than a doer, technically mined, a hair splitter, and a social critic. Blue suits him best. The 6 o'clock water type is the pure feminine element. Just the opposite from the 12 o'clock, she has narrow shoulders and wide hips, a nipped-in waist creating well-defined curves, long legs, marshmallowy flesh, tending towards more fluidic movements. She has a steady, dependable nature, generous, dedicated, carrying out what she says she will. Like the ocean, she can have turbulent moods and be emotionally erratic. Her color is sea blue-green. At 9 o'clock is the pure earth type, with a thick sausage build and rubbery flesh. She's a social type, agreeable, practical, resourceful, a doer rather than a thinker, just the opposite from the intellectual 3 o'clock. The masculine or feminine pronouns are used here only as a convenience. Males or females can participate to a lesser or greater degree in any of these basic types. A dominatrix female can have strong masculine characteristics and be a large 12 o'clock woman. A man with a lot of feminine characteristics can naturally fall into the 6 or 7 o'clock range. As LaVey is quick to point out, typing people isn't allowed in our society today. We're all supposed to be equal. We're not supposed to judge others by their appearance. But I say appearance aesthetics is everything. In the 30s and 40s, great progress was made in character reading. But with the advent of the Great Integration, we're supposedly to look beyond persons' physical attributes into a deeper commonality we all share. That's bullshit. Knowing what characteristics go with what appearance is vital to magic. Once you learn to type people, you can see into their souls. And no matter what, they'll remain true to their basic predispositions. It never fails. After identifying yourself on LaVey's synthesizer clock, prospective witches are advised to look across the circle to find the type of man they have a tendency to attract. The long-standing phrase, opposites attract, is incorporated here with the added explanation of why they attract. If a man is as skinny as a rail 3 o'clock, depending on his intellect and verbal skills to engage people, chances are he will be with an outgoing, personable, heavier woman who enjoys cooking, parties, and holidays. We are compelled to our opposites. They fascinate us with their differentness. By our involvement, we access a secret self to show the world. Our partner provides another dimension, and we are drawn to them whether we like it or not. Likewise, if you see a relationship budding where the parties involved are too much alike, too close on the clock, lay bets they won't be together long, and people will be surprised by your foresight. Many types do like to have relationships, for sexual reasons, companionability, with people near them on the clock. But the point is, they aren't compelled to each other, so they have to work that much harder to stay together. LaVey defines a unique concept he calls ECI, erotic crystallization inertia. These are women's trappings that, based on a man's initial sexual experience or the time in which he was born, become fetishistic turn-ons. The ECI of men who experienced young adulthood during World War II would be stockings, tailored dresses and skirts, heavy makeup, because that is what sexually available women wore in 1942. For men growing up in the 60s, ECI might be something quite different. Blue jeans, long straight hair, politically aware and active woman would probably hold special fascination for them. LaVey provides in his book a short list of fetish-finding comments which you can weave into your conversation with your query and gauge the reaction. How you won't take any guff from a man, discussion about that hair-pulling match you had with another woman, shame at being chastised by your boss or accidentally exposing yourself. Making mention of some article of underclothing you might be wearing is an obvious fetish detector. One or more of these types of comments is guaranteed to get a response. Every man is a fetishist, writes LaVey. You simply have to discover his fetish. Men's magazines understand fetishes and cater to target audiences. LaVey once gave an interview to the men's magazine Hustler, December 1979, focusing on his sexual exploits. The article fixated on Marilyn Monroe's farting. Though LaVey never brought up the subject, he was pressed into admitting that yes, like all other humans, Marilyn must have farted. Hustler practically embellished it into a cause célèbre. After the article appeared, and just as LaVey feared, about a half-dozen flatulent, lonely hearts sought him out. Needless to say, LaVey was unimpressed. But this apocryphal tale about Marilyn has entered the literature. Subsequently, other first-person memoirs and biographies have referred to her windiness. Successful witches should never forget the law of the forbidden. LaVey explains, the reason there has always been a fascination for witchcraft and sorcery is because it has consistently been considered taboo. Your first duty as a witch is to your appearance. Men are all voyeurs, and most of what they are attracted to is based on what they see. What they see in you, as a witch, must be fascinating. And nothing is so fascinating as that which is not meant to be seen. When it comes to bewitching them all, men are nasty little boys at heart. People have completely negated the value of prurience these days. There's no opportunity like there used to be, with women wearing pants and sexually provocative pictures being limited to full frontal exposure. LaVey cautions women against projecting their own standards for another woman on their sexual attractiveness to men. What a woman hates most about herself, her feminine odor, her cellulite, her movements, her blemishes, those are just the things I find most appealing on a beautiful woman, because those are the things that make her vulnerable, the things that make her a real woman. Contrary to what white witches may say about working their magic sky-clad, the satanic witch understands the power of clothing. How can men feel like dirty little boys unless they're seeing something that is absolutely not supposed to be seen, that is supposed to be covered by clothing? The true witch dresses in usually more clothes than most women, but that's just to be able to expose more. LaVey cites the provocative example of a topless dancer listlessly shaking her equipment in front of a group of equally unenthusiastic men. A woman spectator steps into the picture clothed rather conservatively, with classic 3-inch pumps, a close-fitting but unremarkable dress. She is with a man and wears a modest wedding band. When she sits down at the bar, her dress accidentally catches on the back of the stool and ends up revealing much more than she is aware. The men present are able to strain their eyes past the married woman's traditional beige-toned seamed stockings to view the pale flesh of her thigh. They can even trace a slightly soiled white garter strap up the back of her leg and glimpse a bit of off-white panties. Her undergarments are not the black or red stage undies displayed by the girl on stage, but something much nastier. the forbidden. All the men's eyes direct furtive glances up the lady's dress, no matter what is going on stage. The satanic witch, LaVey suggests, the kind of clothes to glamorize a woman's position on the clock. On women, it looks great to expose the neck and back or legs. It's very attractive because it connotes vulnerability and literally bearing yourself to ravishment. Vulnerability doesn't work on men. T-shirts with no collar to protect your neck and shorts covering only the minimum part of you makes a man uncomfortable. He feels like a sitting duck. That's what I call toddler clothes. Too exposed. Along with exposure, garter belts, high heels, and straight-cut dresses or skirts, LaVey recommends full-cut underwear rather than bikinis, more to show, bright colors in makeup, no excessive jewelry, and no heavy perfumes or deodorants to mask your natural seductive smells. LaVey released The Satanic Witch at the height of feminist fervor. It was meant as an antidote to what LaVey has called the most aesthetically barren period in history. Reactions, as is usually the case with LaVey's works, were sharply polarized. Helen Gurley Brown ran a condensation in Cosmopolitan. New York's top DJ, Barry Farber, exclaimed, "My God, man, do you realize what you have here? This is 25 years ahead of its time. A breakthrough in understanding human motivation." Conversely, says LaVey, the reaction from feminists when my book first came out was incredible. Public book burnings, pickets at stores. During the promotional tour, when I made the mistake of announcing on the air I'd be at such and such bookstore signing copies, they showed up en masse with their boots and maxi skirts. Given his attitudes about the true power of women, it's not surprising that LaVey has little good to say about the effects of feminism. Feminism negates and inverts the natural male/female interchange. There's a magnetic interaction between men and women that can be exploited for magical results, like a perpetual motion machine. It's been described as yin-yang, active-passive. In satanic ceremonies, it's the interplay between the dominant priest and the receptive female altar. But feminists, in their supposed quest for equality, have tossed out the baby with the bathwater. It's a real shame, too, because women are naturally dominant in relationships, unless there's an extreme masculine type with an extreme feminine type. The feminists have eliminated avenues for power over men that women have had for centuries. But that system was bad for consumerism. Women are the best consumers, and they can't spend favors. In these post-feminist liberated years, men pay and women pay. Everybody pays. With plastic money according to how God, i.e. TV, tells them how to spend it. There's no room for a barter system because women are above accepting favors from men. They have their own money now that they get by plugging firmly into the economic system. Even prostitutes are trained to get the money and spend it as they should. Most men are so threatened and fed up with dealing with women with chips on their shoulders that they place greater demands upon women in an attempt to assert power. They're so used to women threatening their masculinity that they take every opportunity to throw their weight around, even with a naturally passive woman. That's what the real crime of feminism is. It's created a situation where receptive, bottom-of-the-clock women have to suffer from what top-of-the-clock women have thrust upon them. They've been robbed of the thrill of subtle exhibitionism, of prurience. Those women were perfectly happy and most successful in the pre-feminist world. Now they have to go out and compete with top-of-the-clock women for office jobs, industry jobs, and suffer because of men's resentment. When challenged, LaVey admits his views sound more than a bit chauvinistic. "I'm a confirmed misogynist," Anton declares, "but only because I'm such a pushover for feminine women. A misogynist's disdain is based on jealousy. Seeing the power that aggressively passive wield through their feminine wiles, he wishes he had a bit of it himself, secretly admires it, and seeks to capture it before it captures him. But overtly mannish or dominant women create no dualistic yearnings. As I've written, they're useless critters who are too proud for burden and not attractive enough for exploitation. We misogynists need wanton, sleazy, yielding, soft women to augment our masculinity. I consider a well-adjusted heterosexual misogynist a bulwark against the most devastating form of defeminization." Another harmful side effect of feminism, as LaVey sees it, is an inversion of sexual roles. "This has been a complete inversion," says LaVey. "Just look around. There's a difference between masculine and feminine metabolisms. Women have a tendency to be colder all the time. They have slower metabolisms. I'm always very hot, and I ask myself why. Why is it everywhere I go it is too hot for me? Then I finally realized what had happened. Maybe it's because I'm a man living in a woman's world. If men become women and women need warmth and kinesis, men are now just as chilly as women once were. Men have taken over women's metabolisms too. They make better women than women these days. It's never hot enough for them. When you're dealing with a nation of women, no one's going to run hot because there are no pure men. You'll be sweltering if you are, because everything is geared for lower metabolisms. Lysenko, Lamarck, and others have traced changes environment can produce over 1 or 2 generations. Such changes don't have to take the 50,000 years of evolution. Men now go into the marketplace, remarks LaVey, the way women used to. A woman's work is never done. Is men's burden now as well. Elvis the pelvis changed the way men move. Now men do the bumps and grinds and the women pump iron. It used to be all a woman's strength was in her legs and pelvis, and man's strength was in his arms and upper body. Women carried their weight low, men high. Look around now. Men don't get het up the way they used to. The creative male sex urge is sublimated, lackadaisical now. Women conventionally express sexuality in retention, preservation. Sex is imparted to them. That's what new men need. Imparting of sex, heat, potency from women. It's the new plaint of women. Where are the real men? We have a whole nation of barren, cold women huddled together with their male counterparts to keep warm. But women don't generate by nature. They conduct. They receive. Nothing's changed in them. The feminine characteristics are still there, exploited more effectively than ever. LaVey does have hope, though. He sees that satanic ideas are having an effect on the way men and women interact that will create a forum for a return to the complementary interchange between purely masculine and purely feminine characteristics again. The Satanic Witch was a strong blow for reestablishing sex differentiation during our most androgynous period in history. Now, after almost 20 years of secret leakage into the mainstream, prurience is becoming fun again. Fantasy, along with androids, is becoming increasingly important in the changing sexual scene. AIDS. People are more circumspect about their sexual liaisons, returning to only the safe outlets, prurience, and voyeurism. Women are relearning the arts of flirting and subtle exhibitionism. We must have a return to glamour and prurience, whether feminists yell about women exploiting their bodies or not. Women can relearn to exercise their differences to gain more power. But they must be highly evolved women. Most women will continue being sheep and buying what they're programmed, emotionally and economically. Advanced, satanically oriented women can choose their own lifestyle rather than having it thrust upon them. They can participate in all kinds of exercises, rituals if you will, to break down the brainwashing feminism has done on contemporary young women. Sadomasochistic revelries and deviltry, shape-shifting exercises, discipline games. Women are looking for more of that sort of thing in their private lives because it's the ideal therapy. But again, they must be extremely self-aware to be willing to initiate such satanic debaucheries. If you're just one step up from the gutter, you're too much afraid of going backward to participate in vile, degrading activities. But advanced women realize they will have to return to more fantasy, formality, metaphor, imagination, magic in their relationships. Once upon a time, certain women, because they were overly attractive, promiscuous, unusual in some way, were accused of being witches and riding on their broomsticks to Sabbaths, where they consorted with Satan. Before they left, older women would anoint them with a potent flying ointment, laced with belladonna, to prepare them for their journey. Then the girls were instructed to lay on their backs, put their broomstick between their thighs, and let Satan take them. In the movie Svengali, Barrymore compels Trilby to have feverish thoughts of him, his mind reaching out to her over the rooftops of London. Vampires, Svengali, Satan. Whatever the metaphors used, they all have a certain power. For women, fantasy is just as valid as physical contact. These are the representations, the only interpretations we have of the frightening, enticing, darkly romantic force that contacts certain girls. Some force comes to them, speaks to them, makes love to them, overwhelms them. There's enough we don't yet understand about windows of space/time and how they can be manipulated by force of will. What better way to service many women than through long-distance contact, fantasy, and artifice? The obsessions begin at a very young age, then reignite at puberty, causing unendurable longing and indescribable ecstasy when touched. There's a pulsating, surging urgency and aching. Girls seek out hidden books and wicked, forbidden ideas to explore these yearnings and try to discover what is happening to them. Many of them, after such searching, come to believe they have been touched by Satan. Lurking behind all the nasty tricks of high heels, seamed stockings, fantasies, fetishes, and odors, however, is the real and dangerous content of Anton LaVey's Satanic Witch. It's a topic that couldn't be approached directly in 1970 and is still taboo today. In the guise of practical witchery, LaVey has written a handbook of eugenics, insidiously putting forth a system for applied natural selection to be implemented by any woman who reads and heeds what LaVey has written. Because of forced egalitarianism, says LaVey, the lost science of eugenics, the art of typing people, has been all but outlawed, and the Darwinian process of natural selection has been virtually reversed.